Would you like to know a secret about the next big thing? Rod here at A Better Way to Farm, where we increase yields and improve profits. And today I'm going to add and bring you the truth. Guys, I'm going to ask you to stop what you're doing and just listen to this. I don't do this very often. We try to bring stuff for information purposes. But yesterday, I saw something that I've never seen before in 30 years. You guys know that we have been talking for 30 years. Our deal has been pure quality. Our deal has been micronutrients make the difference. Our deal has been that CEC impacts the amount of potassium that you need to apply. And these are things that we're talking about. And yesterday, I had two things happen simultaneously. And I've thought a lot about this in the last 24 hours. And I feel like I need to come on here because I want to make a prediction about a couple of things. Number one, I believe that we're going to learn in the next 10, 15 years that micronutrients are not only important for the growing crop, for the beans, the corn, the milo, whatever it is, but they're also important for soil microbiology. And we know we're seeing this come to fruition. We know when we have calcium, adequate calcium, that the soil bacteria, the soil microbials do better. We know that when we have adequate boron, that mycorrhiza fungi reproduce and actually will replenish themselves. We know there are a lot of things like this that we're learning, we're seeing more and more. And yesterday I got a newsletter from a regional retailer, and I'm going to talk to you as friends, because over the course of the last 20 years, some of these people have not been kind to us, and they've said what we were doing was wrong. They've said it wasn't true. They said it wasn't incorrect. And yet here we are. I take a look at this, and what are they talking about here? They're talking about micronutrients. They're talking about how it is that, what calcium does and how it aids in cell walls and helps with membranes. They're talking about how important boron is in reproduction and sugar transport. They're talking about how zinc is very, very important in everything that it does and is essential for your hormones, and it actually promotes auxins, which is a plant growth regulator. Guys, these are all things that we've been saying in the 12 days of nutrients for years. 4 years. We also know that this was a regional retailer with about, 10 or 15 stores. We also know that we had one of the major retailers that tends to be nationwide came out last year, or not last year, came out yesterday, and they had a meeting, and one of the very first slides that they showed was very similar to one of the slides that we use, or one of the pictures you could have got when we were talking about the books that we use for the 12 days of nutrients. And the books that I use as I'm making decisions in making agronomy recommendations for other people, and the books that we use to figure out how it is that we get where we get with doing different things with micronutrients. And this retailer came out, and now they're the same people who were saying all you need is an NPK test, and now they're saying you got to get a whole test. You got to get NPK, micro, secondaries, organic matter, CEC. That's all true. And guys, I'm excited that we've done this. They also came out and said potassium chloride is not your friend, which tells me these guys are going to start stocking potassium sulfate. And guys, that's good for you. I'm excited that we've moved the needle, that we've got these people looking and saying, hey, maybe there's something here. And now all of a sudden, 20 years after we started doing this, they're going to join the party, and that's fine. But my prediction is this. Based on what I've seen over my whole career, there's going to be a lot of misinformation comes. They'll get it right partly, but it's important that we get it all right. For instance, I predict that some of these guys will start selling micronutrients, and they're going to be that magic word that just gets us all. When they say cheap, the cheap word gets us. They're going to have cheaper micronutrients, but they're going to be chelated either with citric acid or lignosulfate or some chelator that is a whole lot less expensive than EDTA. And why is that important? Well, because chelation is totally dependent upon, the success of it is dependent upon how strong is it? What is that stability factor? What is that stability constant? What's that number that says how long it holds on? EDTA has a stability constant of about 16. Citric acid is about 4.5. And so consequently, that means that EDTA is almost 4 times stronger than citric acid. And we want to just make sure that we're doing the right thing. The other thing that I will predict is that some of them will start selling chelated micronutrients, but those micronutrients will only be 5% chelated, because no different. If I sell you fertilizer, I sell you 1846O or 1152O or 31818, doesn't matter. By law, I am obligated to tell you the N, P, and K. That's it. I am not obligated to tell you about impurities. I am not obligated to tell you about heavy metals. I'm not obligated to do anything except tell you NPK. Micronutrients can be sold, and they can have a very low percentage of chelation and still be marked chelated micronutrients. I've talked about this in the 12 Days of Nutrients. If you go back and you start watching the stuff, a lot of what I'm saying here, this is a synopsis sort of that. But it's also me coming to you saying, guys, we've been here at this party for a long time. This is not news to us. We're seeing people out here now, they're going to start making recommendations off of a Malik 3 test for micronutrients. I would invite you, reach out, type the word seminar in the chat here, make the comment seminar, and we will see to it that you get a chance to go look at the video, the webinar that we did on soil testing. And we talk about why it is that we're not big fans of the Malik 3 test, because everything that happens in ag is good for somebody. The question is who? And we want to make sure that everything's going down is good for you. And if we're going to make micronutrient recommendations, we need to be using DTPA extraction methods. If we're not, we are not going to have a very good success rate of predicting when they're going to work, how they're going to work, what kind of results we're going to get. And with boron, we got to be making sure we're using that sorbitol extraction method as we do that. And so, guys, I'm pretty jazzed up today because I see these things happening, and I'm excited. I'm glad we've moved the needle. I'm glad that there are multiple people out here just now starting to talk about how it is that we need to be paying attention. Our CEC levels impact how much potassium we should have in the soil. They impact how much we should be putting back on. That's honesty, and I love that, and I'm glad. I'm excited that they're coming. They're saying potassium chloride is not your friend. That's true today, and it was true 30 years ago. Potassium sulfate is a much better source. Potassium thiosulfate in a 2x2 band, infinitely better source. Guys, there are things happening here that are good, but what I want to make sure is that they don't take and distort the truth. And as these people, they're going to start talking to you about it. They're going to start saying, hey, you need micronutrients. Hey, you should use potassium sulfate. Hey, you ought to be doing testing for all the micronutrients. So then questions become, do we want to follow someone who's Johnny come lately? Or do we want to follow someone who has been working at this for 30 years? Guys, we have a team of people who would love to help you. And we believe very strongly that we're headed the right direction in American agriculture, but we believe we're out in front. And I would study and I will work hard. And I'm going to tell you guys that my goal is not only do we learn how important these micronutrients are, and we share that with you and what they do in the plant, but our next big frontier is to start doing the research and digging and studying and finding out what these micronutrients do to the soil structure, what these micronutrients do to the microbial life in the soil. What do these things do that we would not have to buy bugs in a jug? What do these micronutrients do that say we don't need to buy a plant growth regulator, we can build our own? Just by putting on the right amount of zinc, we increase the auxins in the plant. That's a hormone that's in the plant that some people are buying. Guys, this is an exciting time, and I'm excited for every one of you who's tuned in live. I'm excited for every one of you who's going to watch this down the road going forward in the future. But guys, I am thrilled that we're moving in that direction. I just want to make sure that as you get moved in that direction, as that needle goes towards micronutrients, that you're doing it in the right way, the right place, the right rate, with the right source. And I really want to pound on that. And guys, I'm also going to predict boldly that most of the micronutrients that are sold out here are going to have heavy metals in them. And guys, heavy metals are disruptors of DNA. They are not our friend. We do not want to be applying any kind of cadmium, arsenic, lead, barium, any of the things that we see, lots of things that we see in these. I would encourage you to get them analyzed, or if you'll reach out to us, we can tell you how you can find a hold of a state government agency that actually has a lot of these analyzed, and check and see what the heavy metal content is in those. You're going to foliar feed manganese. The last thing on earth you want to do is foliar feed cadmium in with it and disrupt that DNA and that process of that plant growing. Guys, we want to help you. We're excited. Some of you on here, we already are. Hi, BJ. It's great to see you on the video. But guys, there's a ton of stuff out here that we're learning, and we want to learn it with you. We've got a couple of 3, 4, I don't know. We got several of our fundamentals of agronomy coming up yet, and I invite you to come out, get on the front edge of this, sit down and take a look and say, hey, now I know why they're doing this, and hey, now I know how to do it the best way. Now I know how to do it with the most effectiveness. Now I know how to do it and get the most bushels for the least dollars. Because guys, cost per bushel is the only number that matters. It's the only thing we work on here because it's the only thing that changes anything. And we are super excited to help you drive down that cost per bushel. We look forward to you. Reach out to us. Find us over on TikTok for some short form video. Go listen to our podcast at A Better Way to Farm on the podcast platform of your choice. Swing by betterwaytofarm.com, take the profit calculator, and always look for us right here on the Facebook page. We love talking to you guys. We're excited to get a chance to work with you. I really hope I get to see you at a Fundamentals of Agronomy this year. Reach out. We'd love to talk to you. I hope you're having a better day.